good news as Luntha TV gets bigger and better. Want you not to miss any great moment for your spiritual and integral development. You can now watch Luntha TV via Zuku, channel 51 and StarSat, channel 474.
Luntha TV.
Luntha Television,
Bringing wisdom
into your home. Oh yes, good news as Luntha TV gets bigger and better. Want you not to miss any great moment for your spiritual and integral development. You can now watch Luntha TV via Zuku, channel 51 and StarSat, channel 474.
Luntha TV.
Luntha Television,
Bringing wisdom
into your home.
Hello and welcome. It's time for news and you're with me, Jacqueline Saidi. Now the headlines. Pope Francis says Christ crucified in Canada's residential school students reconciles us on the cross. Parliament approves loan authorization bill for Shire Valley Transformation Project Phase 2. Stakeholders call for the establishment of a legislative framework to govern the use of special drawing rights. And in other news, protesters killed in anti-UN protests in DR Congo's Goma. We have these and more. Stay with us. In his visit to Canada, Pope Francis met with members of the Sacred Heart Church of the First Peoples in Edmonton and said reconciliation is a gift of Christ to move forward in the wake of the pain caused by the church's role in the Canadian residential school system. The Pope held the encounter in the western city of Edmonton with parishioners of the Sacred Heart Church of the First People, which came on the heels of his public apology for the church's role in running residential schools. In his address, the Holy Father expressed his joy for the opportunity to visit as a friend and pilgrim in their land, adding that his apostolic journey to Canada is meant as a concrete sign of his desire to support the process of healing. We have a Vatican News report.
The Sacred Heart Church welcomes people from the First Nations, Métis and Inuit communities as well as immigrants from other countries. During the meeting, the Pope said the parish offers an example of how the church should be a house for all, a home where everyone should feel welcome, regardless of past experiences and personal life stories. The Holy Father added that education should be based on respect and never imposed in a prepackaged format, but rather undertaken as an adventure to discover together the mystery of life. He then focused on the theme of reconciliation, saying Christ brought a form of reconciliation which goes beyond outward appearances. Pope Francis said the tree of life joins heaven and earth and embraces all creation even things that seemed unthinkable and unforgivable. He said indigenous peoples attribute powerful cosmic significance to the cardinal points, noting how Sacred Heart Church appropriates that symbolism and gives it a Christological meaning. Recognizing the pain endured by many indigenous people and families at the hands of Canada's residential schools, Pope Francis said he can only imagine the effort it must take for those who have suffered so greatly because of men and women who should have set an example of Christian living, even to think about reconciliation.
Members of Parliament have today given government a go-ahead to acquire land to progress Shire Transformation Project Phase 2. Earlier today, Finance Minister Honorable Sostin Gwengwe presented a bill number 25/2022 International Development Association, which seeks to borrow money amounting to 140 billion kwacha for the program. However, members asked the minister to make sure that the project has been sustained in order to help the intended beneficiaries. We have a report written by Bernard Monza.
The said money will be borrowed from the World Bank, which will be repaid for over 30 years with a 6-year grace period at a 0.75% interest rate. According to Finance Minister Sostin Gwengwe, the Shire Valley Transformation Program will be of great importance to the people of Lower Shire, as it will assist them with irrigation system of farming, thereby increasing agricultural productions for the country. He further stressed that the program will be a springboard to venture into commercial agriculture for exports, hence earning the country foreign exchange.
Essentially, it's to move with the idea of His Excellency the President, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, that this agrarian economy must start becoming serious with food production, not only for consumption but also for exports. So the issue of anchor farms around irrigation schemes, but also going inland with the issue of mega farms. All these things, I think they are going towards us boosting our exports as we go forward.
Speaking on behalf of the Democratic Progressive Party DPP, Mulanje Bale legislator Honorable Victor Msowa said the party supports the bill as the program will lessen burden of hunger on most Malawians. United Democratic Front UTF leader in Parliament, who is also the interim president of the party, Lilian Patel, said it may be better if the program may start sooner, looking at its positive impact. However, Chitipa South legislator Honorable Weran Chilenga wondered why government is not considering the northern region with such irrigation initiatives to help the citizens of the north. But the minister said plans to establish irrigation schemes in the north are in the pipelines. The Shire Valley Transformation Program is a multi-phased project covering construction of a reservoir dam, a main canal, secondary canals, tertiary canals and farmland development to promote commercial agriculture in Chikwawa and in Sanje districts. The main objective of the project is to develop irrigated commercial agriculture and strengthen the management of natural resources in the targeted areas in Chikwawa and in Sanje. For Luntha News in Nilongwe, I am Bernard Manza.
Non-government organizations in Balaga district have asked the Council for Non-Government Organizations of Malawi, Kongoma, to start recognizing other organizations when making consultations on how to come up with rules and regulations of the body. The NGOs were reacting to the fact that a few organizations in the country were consulted in the newly amended Non-Government Organizations Act. However, Kongoma, while taking the concern, said it is government that selected the few organizations that were consulted. We have a report which has been filed by Rashida Matandeka.
The meeting was based on briefing the non-governmental organizations in Balaga district on the newly amended law, which is a guide to all organizations' operations in the country. According to Smiki Nakaluzi, Kongoma's programs officer, the rule is for all organizations to adhere to, be it local or international. Reacting to the discussion, the NGOs in Balaka, led by John Bamuse, the chairperson of CSO's network, questioned why the NGO mother body uses the same famous organizations when consulting them on issues that affect a lot of organizations, bearing in mind that those representatives do not consult the rest, and asked Kongoma to start recognizing other organizations as well.
We were not consulted area before the bill was passed in the parliament. We know that some few NGOs were consulted, but the process wasn't transparent enough. So the members here raised concern that maybe as we move on, as we are coming with regulations, there must be full consultations with all stakeholders involved. We know that it's very impossible for everyone to be consulted, but in an environment whereby you have more than 1,000 NGOs, you cannot consult only 7 NGOs and then say we have consulted this community.
In his response, Programs Manager for Kongoma, Smiki Nakaluzi, acknowledged the gap in communication, but was also quick to say that it was government that made the invitations.
Government was the one convening, so it wasn't necessarily Kongoma that was calling for stakeholders to look at the law. It was the government of Malawi through the Ministry of Gender. So Kongoma was just an invited party, and as an invited party, we couldn't dictate in terms of who was supposed to be attending these meetings.
The Balaka CSOs have asked Kongoma to not only look at the benefits that might come out of the act as punishment to those that might break the law, but should also help organizations with opportunities. One of the opportunities mentioned was to have international organizations work with local organizations in projects that are of small scale for the benefit of Malawians. For Luntha TV in Balaka, this is Rashida Matantika reporting.
One Step Foundation, a Malawian non-government organization concerned with the welfare of street-connected children, has launched an initiative aimed at soliciting funds from more wishes towards education for the street-connected children. Among others, the organization's executive director, Moses Mwalabu, has announced of his plans to stand at City Center roundabout tomorrow, Wednesday, as one way of reaching out to well-wishers for possible support. Approximately 112 students from public, private and mission secondary schools have been sent back on multiple occasions due to non-payment of fees. We have more on this report by Bernard Mansa.
Speaking to journalists on Saturday after meeting some of the affected students, Malabu said he was concerned looking at how some stakeholders have downplayed his cause for support towards such children. Visibly frustrated, Malabu stated that some principals are no longer willing to listen to their lies about looking for school fees for the previous 2 terms, as the organization that volunteers to support them does not have enough funds. According to Malabu, who was once a street-connected child for over 10 years, if these children are left unattended, they may return to the streets and cause havoc due to their frustrations at not finishing their studies. Smoke Ntengangombe, one of the children who has been fully withdrawn from street life and has been selected to pursue further studies at Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences, Mubas, after scoring 12 points at MACE level, said that street life is so dangerous to them as young people, but only circumstances force them to be in the streets, indicating the need for more well-wishers to assist in educating those who have already been withdrawn so that they may not return to the streets. A letter signed by Acting Chief Executive Officer Vito Mulula from Lilongwe City Council that Luntha Division has seen indicates the council's approval for Malabu to hold the alleged fundraising activity on Wednesday, the 27th of July at City Center roundabout, until the total amount of 39 million kwacha is raised to fully support the children up to Form 4. The organization, which was founded in 2020, is currently concerned with the welfare of approximately 1,008 street-connected children in secondary schools. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I am Bernard Mwanza.
Remember, you're still watching news right here on Luntha Television. Now a reminder of the headlines. Pope Francis says Christ crucified in Canada's residential school students reconciles us on the cross. Parliament, approves loan authorization bill for Shire Valley Transformation Project Phase 2. Stakeholders call for the establishment of a legislative framework to govern the use of special drawing rights. And in other news, protesters killed in anti-UN protests in DR Congo's Goma. Moving forward, the Malawi Economic Justice Network has called for the establishment of a legislative framework which will help govern the proper use of special drawing rights, SDRs, so as to ensure that they are at the service of people. Malawi Economic Justice Network Executive Director Bertha Lipipa Puri made the remarks earlier today when Majin, in partnership with Christian Aid, conducted a media and stakeholder workshop on special drawing rights, a reserve by the IMF that provides foreign reserve assistance to member countries. According to Puri, a study they conducted that seeks to understand government's options for using the SDR facility and tracking how they are utilized following the IMF's approval of $650 billion in special drawing rights to assist countries heavily hit with effects of the global pandemic COVID-19, including Malawi, has established that the funds did not contribute in any way towards the country's economic recovery, hence appealing for a special framework to monitor the use of SDRs. Tandem Zumara with the details.
Making her presentation during the day-long workshop, Majin Executive Director Bertha Lipipa-Piri noted that the study mostly established that there is a need to foster national civic dialogues on macroeconomic priorities while advocating for special drawing rights to be put at the service of people to prevent further deepening of fiscal consolidation. According to Piri, the report found that the SDRs have been supporting balance of payment over the years, except the ninth one, which was accessed in 2021 to help strengthen inclusive economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Instead, the utilization of the funds did not contribute in any manner towards this, hence appealing for a special framework to monitor the use of SDRs.
The IMF does not prescribe as in how nations would be using this funding. So it is in tandem to the Malawi government to make use of the resources that would actually aim at achieving the goal, which is to strengthen the economic recovery we are talking about. So outside the prescription, all we are saying is, can we have now a legislative framework, a proper framework that would govern the proper use of the SDRs.
Meanwhile, the media has been challenged to continue providing checks and balances and engage into a dialogue with government so that as a country we realize the intended purpose of such resources. The workshop also tackled the country's unsustainable debt while delving deeper into the role of Parliament on debt contraction and the socio-economic recovery plan. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
Malawi Prisons Service has challenged its officers on tertiary education for better service delivery. The service commissioner responsible for administration and finance, Clement Kainja, said this at Malina Hotel in Luanda at the signing of a memorandum of understanding between DMI University and the department in partnership on capacity building and training of Malawi Prisons Service officers. Kainja said the department is under institutional reforms to improve service delivery to meet government's call on Malawi 2063 agenda, which demands a vibrant workforce in government sectors. Andrew Nandolo compiled a report which is being read by Rashida Motandika.
According to Kainja, Malawi Prison Service officers and their spouses will benefit from DMI University at a 40% discount fees. He said the department will pay the fees through salary deduction, which will be easy for the officers to pay. He then called on officers who are eligible to enroll with the DMI University for them to be well equipped so that they deliver professionally as they work with the inmates.
To the prison officers, I think I would urge them to take up this opportunity because even if you're looking at issues of upgrading in the Malawi prison service, we will be looking at issues of merit. So basically, if we are going to develop officers to run the department in the future, we will be looking at those who are educated and have the capacity to deliver government programs. So I would urge those who have the necessary qualifications to really take this chance and enroll. And as a department, we will definitely support and make sure that they go through these programs.
Demwa University Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor Gordon Masilimba said the institution is committed to partner with government sectors to respond to specific service delivery. Professor Masilimba said the university has already partnered with the Department of Immigration and Police. He said as an institution, they believe in giving back to the community through the provision of skills for the development of Malawi.
If you look at our DMI, we have our programs in social work, and social work does with community service, and prison service is working with inmates, and we need to train the inmates as well as do some kind of counseling. We also need to train prison officers to manage well the inmates. So obviously through that training, we'll bring a better service to both the officers as well as the inmates. But also beyond that, the prison officers also need training in ICT, education, business administration, and everything, entrepreneurship, and those can also be imparted to the inmates. So we feel that this is a great partnership which will create a better working environment both for the inmates as well as the officers.
Daughters of Mary Immaculate University opened its doors in Malawi in 2011 at St. John the Baptist in Mangwachi Diocese and now has campuses in Lilongwe and Blantyre.
In entertainment, Film Association of Malawi FAMA has announced that it will host the first ever Malawi Film Festival from the 25th to 26th November this year at Golden Peacock Hotel in Lilongwe as a way of promoting the industry. Making the announcement at the sideline of a press briefing in Lilongwe earlier today, former President Gift Sukes Sukali noted that the festival is hugely important as it will offer a platform for filmmakers to present their creative ideas and stories. He further said that this is a platform where it will improve the quality of local productions, including coordinating and networking of persons and groups involved in the production and promotion of film in the country and preserve Malawian culture through film. Bridget Manuka reports.
According to Sugari, the film festival will be happening annually and filmmakers will be celebrated as they are not considered important and are not motivated enough and end up quitting the industry. He said they have partnered with various stakeholders like National Planning Commission and Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Culture for the event to be a success. Sugari also disclosed that they are planning to train 500 filmmakers before the year ends, more especially women, as they want the industry to be gender sensitive.
We want to give a boost to the film industry in Malawi, as we know that the film industry has a capacity to help Malawi grow economically, but also preserve our culture, our dying culture. Maybe I should use that word. So we know that with the capacity of filmmakers, they'll be able to shoot films, but also tackle different issues, but also export the films to other countries, which in return bringing revenue to the country. So this is one of the solutions which we know that the government has been advancing to help nation to be self-reliant in terms of economical.
In his remarks, National Planning Commission Public Relations and Communications Manager Tomu Kanje said that the theme for the film festival, which is filmmaking for socio-economic growth and cultural preservation, coincides with the Malawi 2063 agenda as it supports the country's economic growth, job creation, preservation of culture, and forex exchange generation, hence their involvement in the whole event.
As a partner, we believe that we're adding weight to the festival, because sometimes people look at film and and creative arts as something that is just about something not serious. But we believe that if various partners see that National Planning Commission and the government are behind, or indeed are partners with the film association, this one, they will look at it seriously and look at it as one of the industries that can help to develop the economy. Because once the economy develops, once we have many young people employed through arts, even the companies themselves will get business.
In a separate interview, Arts and Culture Officer from Department of Arts under the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Culture, Evelyn Chikoko, said the government is geared up to promote the industry and that they are ready to support the film festival.
Government is really supportive with this film project, because it's saying that there's a way that Malawi is going to also showcase their culture to outside people. And we are really looking forward to the success of this project.
The Malawi Film Festival will, among other things, help in promoting the film industry in Malawi and give platform for filmmakers to premiere their short films and compete as a way of promoting skills. The event has been organized at a tune of 68 million kwacha. For Luntha Television News in Lilongwe, this is Bridget Manoka.
Lastly, at least 5 people have been killed and 50 others wounded on the second day of the entire United Nations protests in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo city of Goma. The United Nations peacekeeping mission in the DRC, known as MONUSCO, has come under regular local criticism for its perceived inability to stop fighting in the conflict-torn East. More than 120 armed groups roam the volatile region where civilian massacres are common and conflict has displaced millions of people. Well, with that, we conclude the news, and before we go, another look at the headlines. Pope Francis says Christ crucified in Canada's residential school students reconciles us on the cross. Parliament approves loan authorization bill for Shire Valley Transformation Project Phase 2. Stakeholders call for the establishment of a legislative framework to govern the use of special drawing rights. And in other news, protesters killed in anti-UN protests in DR Congo's Goma. My name is Jacqueline Saidi. Now keep watching as King Major Kamwendo brings you this sports segment.